Curled up beggar laying on the canvas instead of in the ready position like praying mantis. Scissors. Glasbish, swasbish, 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 swasbish. Damn snitch. That's an MF Doom song, which is, I guess, the only songs I sing are MF Doom songs. Because I like the guy. I'm a fan of the old dead Doom. Oh, that's sad, isn't it? See, I also speak lightly of dead people that I actually like and admire. Not just the stupid ones that I hate, like Stan Idiot Lee. I don't really hate Stan Lee. I just, no real reason to. Anyway, hello. Oh, hi, everyone. Hi. I hope you're all doing good. And I hope you're all having lots of gay sex. See, I wish for you what I secretly wish for me, which is that you all get to have loads and loads of big gay homosexual, but also homosexual. I will homosex each and every all of you with my penis. Hey everybody, let's start the show. It's the newest little show in town. It's Ewan's little show and he's got a homo sexual right now. Yo, Peter got a skitty papa doo, skibbity beep papa doo pow, skibbity appity papa doo pow, skibbity bop poopity pow. I stink. Hey, did you see all the controversy building up in Stinktober? Oh, Ewan, you're such a controversial character. Oh, goodness gracious. Ewan, you old rascal. It's funny as well because the biggest controversy was me expressing my distaste of Mr. Doodle, that guy. Nothing against the guy. It's whatever, it's just some guy doing his thing. I'm just not a fan of his work, personally. That's my opinion that I expressed on my Instagram page. And, oh boy, was that divisive. Many people agreed, lots of comments saying, yeah, fuck that guy. Some of which were a bit stronger than I'd necessarily agree with. Like, I'm not like, yeah, fuck that guy, fuck him, he's a fucking ginger piece of shit. I'm just like, yeah, I know, I don't like his work. And it bugs me that that's the sort of work that gets popular. Part of it's probably jealousy. That, why isn't my work that popular? I draw better than he does, why aren't I really popular? But more than that, it's like the work that gets out there that I'm made to see, through algorithms and whatnot, or through publications that I maybe follow. So I see what they publish, and then what they publish is work like that. I'm just like, ugh, can't you publish something better? Find some better artists. I want to look at good artwork, not this garbage. That's, in my opinion, garbage. But also, why aren't I as popular as him? I can draw way better than he can. But man, oh man, people had some opinions. Some people, like, it happens every now and again on a post, something I post, because, controversial old Ewan. And where I post a thing and I don't really interact in the comments and stuff. Maybe one or two little things here and there, but ultimately I just I post it, I put it out there and that's it. Then it's on to the next thing. So I do that. I like drop it into, this ocean, and then all the piranhas of these people come up in the comments fucking gnashing at it, going, oh, but this, oh, but you angered me with your opinion. And then people trying to argue their opinion, but like trying to argue to the point of like making sure people know their opinion is the right opinion and trying to like win arguments on this little silly drawing I posted, which is it's funny because it's like it's just fucking just chill, man. What's like I've said a lot worse than I don't like this guy's artwork. And I try to, because Stinktober, it's not a narrative, but I have somewhere I'm vaguely kind of taking it, and if you've watched it, you sort of know where it's going and where it's gone. And I tried to be like, just don't focus on like the one silly little drawing too much, because there's more to it. I've got more to say. There's other things going on. Just give it a minute, let it breathe for a second, and then fucking whatever. But people get so up in arms about it, and people the sort of thing that usually comes out, which has done in this instance, is like, you should spend less time, not necessarily these words, but basically to the effect of you should spend less time hating and more time loving, and why can't we all be happy for other artists and stop trying to hate on them and just be glad that they're putting out work, and it's all part of the world of artists. Yeah, it's cool. And to them, I just want to say, shut up, fuck you. I hate if I want. I'm angry and hate-filled, and I'll fucking express that anger and hate-filled in a silly little doodle. And yeah, I mean, it's in general, it's better to love than hate, but hate is just as valid an emotion. You can't ignore hate. It exists, even if it's down something as silly as I hate a film or something. It's like, that's perfectly valid, and you're allowed to express that. And so if I hate a particular artist's work, then I'm free to express that opinion. I didn't tag the guy. I didn't tag Mr. Doodle and be like, hey, Mr. Doodle, fuck you. Fuck you fucking piece of shit. Your drawings are wank. Pile of shit garbage. And I could draw better than you easy any day with my eyes closed. Literally, I could draw better than you in my sleep, you cunt. Mr. fucking Doodle. Do you remember I used to make videos ages ago of me being like Mr. Strudel or whatever? Oh, hello, I'm Mr. Strudel. And today I'm drawing a big penis. Oh, look, he's doing a shit on his own penis. Because I've always sort of had that feeling about Mr. Doodle in his artwork. But I feel like some of the people who have, who were sort of like speaking against me, I see it, and I know certain people have worked with Mr. Doodle on projects or alongside Mr. Doodle, and then there's other people which are like have close ties with those people. So it's this small like community that are part of or loosely attached to the Mr. Doodle fucking brand or whatever. So they, not to say they have a stake in him and his work, and so if someone is speaking against it, they have to be like, oh no, you can't say that, we're part of his little crew and you can't. But I know for a fact at least one of those people has worked at least alongside, if not with, Mr. Doodle, and another person is very close with that person. Whether or not he's worked with Mr. Doodle, he maybe has. And so, and maybe they're even friends. It might be that I'm bad-mouthing their friend, Mr. Doodle, and in which case, you're perfectly, right to sort of express your opinion that you think I'm a fucking idiot for bad-mouthing this lovely guy who's just doing his thing. Yeah, well, I'm a lovely guy just doing my thing, and what do I get? I get fucking dick. Are you fucking dick? And not in the good gay sex way, but in the bad, I'd rather not have this dick right now. I'd rather, stop getting rejected every time I send my artwork somewhere. But then again, I talk about fucking babies a lot, so I guess I can't really blame people for rejecting that. Hey, it's all good, isn't it? Whatevs. It's just funny, you know. And this was, you know, I'd planned ahead Stinktober drawings. So there's been a few more, and now I'm sort of like turning it on myself. I even said in the caption of one of them, you know, before turning the gun on himself, which is the title of a stand-up special by one of my favourite comedians. You could probably just Google before turning the gun on himself and find it. If you're into that. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I'm sort of, I'm, and that's what I'm gonna do. Is, you know, I'm sitting here yelping and hollering about all this shitty artwork, all these shitty things I hate. But then I turn it on myself and I go, yeah, well, what are you doing, Ewan? You fart, you fucking stupid little bearded twat cunt. Yeah, you piss smelling whore. Sitting here fucking snidely commenting on everyone else's work and doing what? Complaining because, oh, no one wants to sponsor me because I talk about baby rape all the time. Wee. So that's what I'm doing. I'm sort of taking all the shit I'm saying and then turning it and pointing it back at me. Yeah, that's the point. And if I just made a bunch of posts saying, oh, I'm a piece of shit, look how fucking worthless and horrible I am, people would go, well, that's a bit, you know, you're all right, calm down. But if I make a few posts beforehand that go, yeah, fuck you, and fuck this guy, fuck you, fucking, and then you build, and you take another step forward and you go, and fuck you, fuck me, because I'm a piece of shit. What am I doing? Sitting here saying fuck you, fuck me too. I'm the biggest fuck because I'm the one who sits here saying fuck you to everybody. And I'm fucking. And it's a journey. Yeah, I'm taking on a journey, and it's developing. I've got a post in mind for today that I'll work on, and then another one, and it's all gonna, you know. Oh god, it broke. And that's Vivon the travelling vaudeville villain who don't give a flying fuck who ain't not feeling him. Watch what you dealing him. Ace King Death Card. Strong arm the wrong man. Party with left guard. It's Vivon, Victor Vaughn. I think he called it liquor porn. He wrote this one with a fever, sick in bed, with his dick head inside a chicken head. Nope, a dead chicken's head. He said it helped his nausea. If you lost your weight till we tell you about the flying saucer, dag. The kickback will leave your wig rag for a big bag of good grizzle and some zigzag. Survivor. Died calming and a suicide bomber. If he just the type to do a who ride with mama. Said to James Bond, my name is Victor Vaughn. Told the chick the quickest way to get on, liquor porn. It's the Victor Vaughn, the vaudeville villain, one of an earlier one of Daniel Dumélay's Aliases. A really good album, actually. The vaudeville villain is a really good album. He did another one very shortly after called Venomous Villain, which is not so great. It's got one good song from the Venomous Villain album is Fullback Titty Fat, which I listen to time and time again because that's really good. Let me bring up the lyrics. Fullback Titty Fat. It's a funny name song, but the lyrics are so well, because there's the fullback is one section of it and titty fat is another section of it, because okay, so there's fullback, so it's it starts off MC's fall back is Vic in your ear with a whole ball of wax, call or fax for the freshest rhyme delivery or take out for the fake you out ballers in the industry. So it starts off fall back, ball of wax, call or fax, and then towards the end, because it's quite a long song and it's got several sections with different beats, so it's like like several songs in one almost. It's really, really cool. He's done a couple of songs like that. The one called Change That Beat, where it changes the beat a few times in the song, and then changes the song a few times within the same song. And Fall Back Titty Fat is another one of those, and it's really, really good. And then, so part 2, Titty Fat. Just chewing on the titty fat, pursuing the kitty cat, drooling on her pretty hat, playing pool and pity pat, staying school kiddies brats instead of spraying tools and shitty gats, laying cool weather yats, same jewels as silly rats, ruling with gritty stacks, calling where the clicks be at. It's no time for chitty chat, fool v pity that. And then it goes into Ink's folly instincts. I told her time and time again not to swallow pink drinks. I guess it's just how the hollow link clinks v, the fink who made a chink in the mink wink. They say he need a shrink on the brink of pipe to her stink. On the brink to pipe it where her stink made his pinky stink. Instead he asked for some paper and some ink. Could have flipped it longer, except the beat was rather rinky-dink. Still working out the kinks. Every time he thinks his third eye blinks. It must be in the blood like zinc. Glassy-eyed V, put your CD on Jinx. Just that ink sound. Just repeated again and again and again. It's really, really cool, clever song. And that's from the second album, which is, overall, but that song on that album is really rather good. So I'm drawing that alias, making him more villainous, because he's the vaudeville villain. It's Victor Vaughan. He's a very sort of like sinister, but also I think Vic Vaughan is more of like a teenager, like a teenage coming of age villainous kind of character, as opposed to a grand doom character. In his songs he speaks a lot about being in school and having girlfriends and stuff, but writing graffiti and just being a venomous, villainous little tyke. But especially with the name, venomous villain Victor Vaughan, the vaudeville villain, I thought I'd make him appear more sort of like villainous than Doom, who's a bit more grand and verbose. So I got a metal arm. He's still got his metal fingers, and metal finger Doom, MF. That's where that comes from. So he's got his metal hand, and this will be a metal hand, also just making a fist. But it's a big gnarly claw, sort of like the guy from Into the Spider-Verse with his claw hand. Whatever that guy's name is. Because I had this idea. I made a tiny zine at university of just drawings of MF Doom. But then I've had this idea for quite a while, where I want to do a series of drawings with like one drawing from each sort of character of Doom's, because he's had several. Where's my piece of paper? Doom! So Operation Doomsday came out in 1999, his first proper album. So that would be, MF Doom coming to be. And that's when he had his older mask, which was a mask of the wrestler Kane, which was sort of like this kind of thing. And then Kane, it had like, I don't know, spikes or flames or some shit on it, and Kane had long hair. But then he cut out this bottom bit, and then I think cut the eye holes a bit wider, and sprayed it silver. And so it was this kind of shape. That was the first MF Doom mask. And then a friend, like a designer artist friend of his, made one, obviously copied very much from the... it was probably literally like a plastic mask from the film Gladiator, but like ever so slightly edited. But it's basically the Gladiator mask. So yeah, I'll do a drawing based on Operation Doomsday, a more classic Doom villain with this old mask, and then Take Me to Your Leader was the King Ghidorah album in 2003. That was a really cool one. So I've got an idea for an image of that, with like Doom in the front, with like his hands up, doing that kind of thing, being Doom, and then in the background, the heads of King Ghidorah, big and impressive. Vaudeville villain. I'm doing this now just because it's cool. It looks cool. I like it. something like that. And then this will be like a spotlight, and this will all be black around here, and then there'll be like graffiti written here, like Victor, and then just other tags and stuff. And that could be like, I'm thinking maybe a series of prints. I could do maybe a set. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I might cut one of these out, maybe the Czarface Metal Face one, and just have 8, like a set of 8 prints, A3, so roughly this size, like this, and then a set of like smaller postcard prints. So there'd be a small run of big prints of these drawings, all black and white, and then a bigger run of smaller prints. Mad Villainy in 2004, one of the best hip-hop albums of all time, let alone one of his best albums. So that would be quite a cool one, because you've got, especially from the All Caps video, like the Hulk imagery, where he like, so I can have like a smaller, I could draw, Daniel Dumoulin, the guy before he became, or before he took on the mask as MF Doom, and then draw him like gradually, where you have like Bruce Banner in the front of the image, and then him gradually getting mad and turning into the Hulk behind him until he's like the big angry gnarly Hulk in the back of the image, like that. And have Dumoulin, and then have him be MF Doom, and then like his clothes ripping off, and then here he's turned into the mad villain. And then like, the Quasimodo aardvark thing or whatever. Food, a bit unsure of what to do for that one. Maybe just... Oh, I did have one idea of doing him, MF Doom, working at like a McDonald's with like an apron on and stuff. It could be quite cool. Food, and then in the background I could have like posters advertising the food that is mentioned in the songs, like Rap Knishes or whatever. The Mouse and the Mask, Danger Doom, that's so like ripe with imagery, because the mouse, the Danger Doom character exists as, the white mouse with the MF Doom mask / helmet. So I can do quite a lot with that, and then work in the Adult Swim characters that are mentioned in the album. Aqua Teen Hunger Force, the fucking, is it the Moonanites and Space Ghosts and stuff? I can do quite a lot with that. Born Like This, imagery-wise, I'm a bit unsure. The whole album is a lot sort of darker and more kind of apocalyptic, especially with the song Cells, which has the... is it Bukowski? Charles Bukowski, the poet, his poem at the front of it is very sort of like, apocalyptic and dark imagery. And even the album, it's like a stone impression of the Doom mask. So I could do something like that, like make it, maybe post-apocalyptic and big and grand, but dark. Key to the Cuffs. That whole album was recorded in England, because I know MF Doom lived in England for like the last 10 years of his life, because he's London born, I think, and then his parents were from places. Then he lived in America for a bunch of time, but he was born in London, and I think he was a London citizen, and he had difficulty staying in America or something like that. So the whole album of Keys to the Cuffs, which is about a 50-50 album, like some of it's really good, some of it's just really not that. But, I can stick with the England thing. And there's a lot of like British themes in the song. There's the best song from the album, Hello Governor, which is, just the saying, hello Governor. He does that in the song, and there's a lot of sort of like, there's a song called Cockney Rhyming Slang, and the whole thing is a very sort of like British cultural feel to it, or there's lots of input from that. So that's something I can use, like Doom drinking from a little teacup with his pinky out. I want to stay away from like have Big Ben in the background and a London bus and an English bobby. Like I want to stay away from that, but make it, put in just a couple of like British things. I was thinking of doing like the Doom mask, but with the Union Jack across it, but that's too like on the nose, so I'll stay away from that. But I figure like 8 really decent black and white drawings, like heavy black ink and then cross hatching here and there. Good contrast. Copy all the Mike Mignola Hellboy stuff and make some really decent like Doom drawings. I can make a little zine out of it, a print release. I think that would be really good. Comics for days! We got comics for days! I don't take care of them because I'm a fat gay. Which is nothing wrong. There's nothing bad about, larger gay people. They're fine. I love them. Except that one, Trump. What a cunt. Oh, hey, did you hear Liz Truss resigned as Prime Minister? What was it? She was there a month. Hey, yeah, we got a woman Prime Minister now. That's cool. Worthless. Completely worthless. I wasn't going to buy these. I saw this one in the store because it was on the new this week shelf. And it had the James Harren, what do they call it? A cover that's not the usual cover. The ones I did for... What's the term? Shit. The only word in my head is parody, but that's not the word. And I know you're all there now going, it's this cover. A variant cover. I think he's even got like Ultra Mega in the background. I think, because there's been quite a few, that's really meh, frankly. Like it's okay, but sort of eh. But then you get something like this. James Harren, I think, works really well with the Jeff Darrow world. Like in terms of his creatures and his sense of humour, silly little... Like that's a tiny little Ultra Mega thing. I don't know, toilet roll and cans and shit on the floor. Little cat with a love heart spot on its fur. And like just James Harren's sense of humour and way of approaching images works really well with Jeff Darrow's art and world that he creates. And so that's why I picked this up, because it's a James Harren cover and is therefore, worth having just for that. Because I can't find it because it's in one of many piles of things. I did have another issue of this I showed off, which was like okay. But then I did flick through these and there's a lot more urban stuff which I prefer to see from Jeff Darrow, so that's cool. And obviously I don't care, so they're all creased and stuff. This was also on the shelf on the I saw this on the new stuff shelf and I thought, oh, I'll grab that. And then I saw this on the already out shelf, so I grabbed that as well. And I thought I'd look through them because why the bloody not? The problem with looking at Jeff Darrow's work in this environment, trying to show you this stuff, is you just can't see most of it because it's all just such small details. But this is stuff that, this will eventually come out in a trade paperback, so get it when you can, just to look at the artwork. There's a Godzilla in the background and there's all kinds of shit going on. These characters, a giant frog catching a pigeon with its tongue. These dogs, that one's pissing. There's a cat on a chair. That guy dropped his beer and he's wearing a MAGA shirt and MAGA hat. A giant, newt on the wall. It's just... And that's in the very first panel of this comic. There's just all of this shit going on. And 1% of it is relevant to the story. That's why you can love Jeff Darrow's artwork. Because it's artwork, and it's almost a shame that it's comics. That's the medium he works in. Because typically, you pick up a comic to read the story. Typically, not necessarily, but typically, buy a comic to read the story, and it takes 5 minutes to read, a 20-something page comic. Like I can read through, especially when there's, scenes like this. You just sort of go, okay, he's kicking him, guns in the air, he catches them. Shoots around. Okay, yeah, he's fight scene. You can flip through it really quick and just gather the storyline. And then this thing must have taken, I don't know, weeks to draw. Weeks and weeks. If he does a page a day, that's amazing. If he can manage 1 page a day. I don't know, but... If that's how long it takes, that's incredible. So the fact that he spends, or any artist who spends a long time putting a comic together can spend that long doing it And you can buy it for a few pound, read through it in a few minutes, and then just stick it in a pile with all the other comics without necessarily really looking at it and appreciating the work that's gone into it. All these fucking lizards. What is going on? Ass King. Best graffiti ever. Silly Frank. And Silly Billy. Some of the best graffiti I've ever seen. Not visually, but in terms of names. Yo, shit dog, what do you write? Yo, I write Funk Puss. I write Dick. Oh, I write Ass King. I write Silly Frank. Hey, I'm Silly Frank. Oh shit, I seen you up here and here. Fools all city, man. NRA's bitching. I love that he shows the world in an exaggerated form with all of the Trump and MAGA and NRA stuff, and, you know, shows them for being the big fat dummies that they are. And just the fucking this table here, cans of beer with cigarette butts poking out of them, this bottle with loads of cigarette butts in it, cigarette butts everywhere, guns and fucking bottles and books and magazines and stuff. Fucking Nazi pillows next to a Jesus pillow. That's pretty funny, and, you know, commentary or whatever, and a gun under the pillows, lizards in the background. Just stuff everywhere. And, you know, it's sort of baffling. Like, if I draw a page of a comic, if I put in 2 extra details, I'm like, whew, wow, that's a lot of work. I better slow down. I'm going to tire myself out. And then you see something like this, using his hat gimmick from before, pulling this guy's head off. Pretty great. And kicking his head at another guy's head to take him out. And they're all rednecks, sitting around NRA t-shirts. They've all got guns. And there's crabs on the back of this chair. And plasters or band-aids in the holes of the chair or whatever, over the holes. SS, Hitler posters. Just a bunch of pieces of shit hanging out, watching porn. Blew this guy's hand apart. And then you can see other people through it. That's quite cool. And this is great, because obviously this whole sequence is, you know, wordless, but it's all told through, like, choreographed drawings and stuff. Of Shaolin Cowboy coming in and blowing these people apart. Like, the perspective with the ceiling and stuff, it's all just, like, and the table, and... oh, he's, like, skidding across the table, shooting everyone as he goes. Blowing the fuck out of him. Jesus! And everything's drawn, like, so impeccably. Like, it's not necessarily hyper realistic, but there's enough, like, detail and accuracy in sense of form and stuff that you just, it looks real enough. The detail in all the guns is insane. Like, all of the guns, I don't know if he just Google images stuff or he's got pictures of guns, or if at this point in his career he probably just knows what the guns look like. He's drawn them all so much, so he doesn't need to look up reference. But because typically I just make up a gun. I know vaguely what guns look like, so I can just make them up and go, this is a gun. And you look at it and go, sure, that's a gun. But every now and again I will want to draw a specific gun, and I'll have to, you know, look something up. But I imagine Jeff Darrow has drawn enough that he knows what he's doing. He doesn't need to use reference for fucking everything. Oh, this guy's hand got blown off. Oh, he took it off with his hat. He threw in his head-severing hat, landed on this guy's hand. Took it off. And then sending him a message. I have your hand and your phone. That's pretty funny. Carnage, man. Oh. Like that's just so much work. If I was drawing a comic that someone else had written and they said, right, there's this scene would be hard enough to draw, but then like this panel, the entire room with, I don't know how many dead bodies, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14, there's like 20 bodies just in like this bit. Fuck me, shit is insane. And that's like this carries over. Yeah, you can see that in the camera. Cool. And then this one, number 6. I don't know how many issues there's going to be. I don't know how long the story is, but there's a giant fucking pig. What the fuck? Love that cover though. Like James Harren's drawings are good anyway, and his funny little like pretty cartoony Shaolin cowboy with his hand and the chainsaw, and I love his monsters and the sense of weight they have, where like it's all going on up top, and then here it really feels with like the heavy black inks and the rolls in the flesh, it feels like it's like heavy down here on the ground. All these fucking foreskin things, these monster faces and all the wrinkles and shit. Oh, so good. Need more James Harren comics. I saw on Instagram, he did, I'm pretty sure I saw that he did this, a BPRD comic, you know, the Hellboy universe sort of thing. And I've been looking for it, but I can't find it anywhere. So I might have to really try to track it down online or something. Because I'd love to see that. Like, that's almost like an obvious thing. Like James Harren and the Hellboy universe. Monsters and weird supernatural things, but like in the modern day setting, it seems like, of course, why wouldn't you have James Harren doing that sort of stuff? This is obviously a callback to the issue I showed before with the giant jellyfish thing and the guy that was on top of it and whatever. I don't know. I'm lost as far as the story goes. I'm just marveling at the insane, impossibly ridiculous, over-the-top artwork. There's a pterodactyl carrying a baby off. There's a cat smoking a cigarette walking along. All the garbage and the dead people with his hands severed in cans and cigarette butts. And all the cats are smoking cigarettes. That's brilliant. That's just ridiculous. Like, I'd be happy to draw the figures in this. Background, there's a building with windows, you get a basic shape, cool. A couple of bodies on the floor, cool. You know, just a couple of cans to show that it's a street with garbage on it. But then to draw all the background details and texture in the buildings and like rust and drips and pipes and stuff. It's fucking bananas. And then this guy turns into some crazy shit like the previous guy did. Some giant, weird, fucking crustacean, tentacled, Cthulhu-esque creature. And Shaolin Cowboy springs into action with his red Converse. It's ridiculous. This is the sort of thing I'd love to see like James Harren do as well, because his monsters are great and his drawings of city stuff is great. I'm not obsessed with James Harren. You're obsessed with James Harren. Shut up. Oh my god. He almost got in with his hat that pulls people's heads off, but he tore it. No, you don't. No way. This just ain't my hat size. Ha ha ha. But then he swings around and swings through his crab body. Oh, fuck. Sticks the landing down here. Where does he land? On this rooftop, I guess. Okay, what else is on the rooftop? All of this shit. All these little huts and buildings and pipes and giant frogs and lizards and passed out guy with no trousers on, beer cans and graffiti that says pussy and fuck, billboards and garbage and bikes, cats and stuff. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. That a person can draw something like that anyway is ridiculous. Like, you can sit and draw, spend hours and hours drawing and come up with this stuff, and okay, cool. But then to draw an entire comic book's worth again and again and again, it's just ridiculous. And that's really cool. The problem that I have with this sort of stuff is it's impressive that someone would sit and draw that. The problem is it's almost boring because, like, the angle is flat, but then it's like, what other angle would you do? What would make it a better angle to show, you know, the immense size of this creature as he's shooting fire at Shaolin Cowboy and blowing this stuff up? I don't know. I say, oh, it's almost boring, but only as like an immediate reaction to this panel. It feels flat in terms of how it's drawn, but it's anything but. I'm not complaining. I'm not saying this is shit, I could do better. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just, I don't know. I guess maybe I'm used to seeing, if there's an action scene like this. Oh look, there's his legs. His legs and his top half. I'm used to seeing action scenes like this with like a low Dutch angle or some shit looking up at it and it all exploding. And then when you have just like a fairly straight head-on camera angle, it appears flatter. Maybe that's more. It's not boring. It's just because it's a more flat angle. Literally, the image can appear flatter. But still, incredibly impressive, ridiculously over-the-top impressive feat of drawing. And that's one panel in amongst hundreds of others of great ones, and that's still a great one. I'm not saying it's shit. I'm really not. I'm just talking so that there's something to listen to while I look at a comic. That's all it is. New porn. Wow, handcrafted, amazing. I need some new handcrafted porn. No, I don't know. I've got enough. I've got far too much already. He's doing a pee. He's drinking a beer and having a wee on the street. Next issue, The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. Good gracious. He's riding a bike on the power lines. That's weird. Yeah, I just... ridiculous artwork. Which is, you know, to say that Jeff Darrow's artwork is ridiculous is like the coldest take a person could have. It literally goes without saying. If you know Jeff Darrow's work and somebody says Jeff Darrow to you, you go, well, yeah, ridiculous, over-the-top, insane artwork. I'm almost more impressed than anything by just the James Harren variant cover. I like that. I don't like to use, like rulers and guidelines and shit. But when it comes to, like, sometimes when I draw circles, I don't really give a shit. It's whatever. But sometimes I want my circle to at least appear circular. And then I will use just like fucking tape and I'll draw around it or something. And so when it comes to doing the final version of a drawing like this, I will use a guide, at least for the circle, to have it circular. But obviously this is just a sketch, which is why it's in a sketchbook. That's what sketchbooks are for, one could argue. This is black. Which is, Tatui. I have a little something I thumbnailed. I know, see, and I'm as annoyed with it as you lot might be. The amount of ideas for things I come up with that I say I'm going to do and then I don't. What happened to the How to Draw Comics book, Ewan? What happened to the Milhouse Simpsons post-apocalyptic comic, Ewan? What happened to Survivors? That other post-apocalyptic comic you were going to do, Ewan? What happened to all these ideas, all these things you keep talking about that you say you're going to do? Well, for one thing, I'm horrifically depressed and it's hard to do literally anything on a daily basis. It's hard to brush my teeth, to shower, to feed myself. I find many things incredibly difficult on a daily basis. And for another thing, other things come up which aren't necessarily more important, but like maybe more people are clamoring for the next Gun Viking, and I managed to get a couple of pages done, and it's like, okay, it's worth my while to get Gun Viking done. I still have to make a living, and Gun Viking will sell at least like this many copies and give me time to work on other things. So, okay, I'll get Gun Viking done. And then I'll put together another collection art book, but Vember or something like that. And then another thing comes up and another thing comes up. And it just doesn't become... I don't know what word to use. It becomes sort of like just difficult to I can't think of the word. Can't think of any words today. What the fuck? I'm fucking worthless. Oh, I'm so good with words, says Ewan, and then can't think of the word variant. It's just I don't have time to work on all the things I want to work on at this point in my life and career, if it can be called such. But one day, and but it's good to have all these ideas, because even if I don't get everything done right away, like sooner or later, I'll finish Gun Viking. And then I might be like, well, shit, now what? What do I do now? I've got nothing. But I have ideas. I'm like, okay, well, then I've got this comic, and then this comic, and this art book, and this How to Draw Comics book. And so I've got things I can work on, almost constantly. And certain things like the Doom drawings, I say, I'm going to do a print release and maybe a little zine of all these Doom drawings based on all his albums. It'd be really, really cool. Like, it might not happen within a week or two, but it's just something I can do every now and again in between other projects. I can do a little bit of doodling, another sketch for one of the Doom drawings, and go, okay, I can turn that into another Doom drawing. That's one in the bank. Then another one and another one. Gradually build them up, get 8 of them done, and I can release a thing, and that's cool. So that's something. But I've got ideas, and there are things I want to do, and there are things there are things I want to do, and there are things I can sort of have the time to do. I can get away with doing. But so with Survivors, which if you haven't been clocked in, it's a post-apocalyptic comic following Zilla, my apocalyptic monster giant mouse fight comic. I don't know, sometime after that, following some of the survivors of the giant mouse with an ear on its back incident. And it's just, it'll follow a little group of kids as they make their way, like try to make their way to safety through a post-apocalyptic wasteland. I've got a bunch of ideas for that story, of like little story, like plot elements I want to do with that. And then it will just sort of like fill in the gaps and make an overarching thing and put it together and then sit and draw the entire thing. But there's this one particular not even aspect, just one little story moment I've had the idea for since I first came up with the thing, and I sort of vaguely storyboarded it. So towards the start of the story, there were, some kids travelling, picking up scrap and food where they can, and looting, Fallout style stuff. And then one night they're at camp, there's a couple of them sat around a fire, and one of them's fucking around making some noise with metal and stuff, and they look over and go, "What the fuck are you doing?" And he goes, I've made an invention. And they're like, what are you talking about, invention? And he picks up this, and he shows them this. He goes, "I've made this." And it's like a tin can wrapped in duct tape, and it's full of like nuts and bolts, a tin can full of nuts and bolts and stuff. And so he's like, "Hey, check this out." And they go like, "What?" Like just not miserable, but just like, what are you doing? What is that? And he goes, "It's a heavy thing, like a weapon. It's full of nuts and bolts. It's so heavy and it's metal. You throw this at someone attacking us, and they'll fucking take them out straight away because it's so like heavy and it's metal." And then they're just like, "Oh, you mean like something like this?" And they pick up a brick, something like this that's readily available all around you, that you don't need to carry around and actually make. You can just pick up a rock or a brick. And he's like, "Oh, fine." And he takes his tin can invention and stuffs it into his bag. I was just trying to help, just, trying to come up with stuff. And I think this character, he'll like muck up a couple of times along the way. Like he's not that clever. He like trips easily. He's very accident prone and, a good spirit. He tries to help. He invents weapons, a tin can full of bits of metal duct taped together. So he stuffs it in his bag. He's all miserable. He's like, fine. Maybe he's got a couple in his bag, whatever. And then this is the passage of time. Much, much later on in the story, they've gone here, they've gone there. This isn't really mentioned again. But at one point, maybe they're climbing up a building or a tower, a ladder, like a fire escape or something. They're climbing up a ladder. So this is them climbing up a ladder, if you can see that, as they're being stalked by a giant mouse creature or something. And they're trying to be very, very quiet. They're carefully climbing up this building. Very shh, it's going to hear us. Quick, get to the roof so we can escape. And then like maybe this, dumb kid's hand like slips or something. He falls back a bit. It doesn't fall off the ladder, but he falls back. But then his bag's a bit open, and one of these tin cans like slides out the zipper as he's like, because he's leaning back, and the sort of jolt pushes one of the cans to where the zip's maybe a bit open and jostles it out, and it falls, and this can falls, and you can see like the tape's coming away, so all these nuts and bolts are coming out, and then clangs to the floor below them. And because it's metal and it's nuts and bolts, it's a big sort of like crash, clang, and a ping, and it's all this thing. And then the giant mouse, this is his eye and mouth. He's like, "Oh, I heard that." And they're like, "Oh shit, fuck no." And then the thing would like come at them and start climbing up the ladder towards them. And then they have to like fucking get up the ladder and run. And there's a chase across the rooftops. And oh my God. But that's just one sort of like story point where it's like he's trying to come up with stuff. And it's a dumb idea. He's made a heavy object when there's literally littered bricks and rocks and debris everywhere around him. But he's just trying to help. But sadly, that becomes a nuisance later on. when they're trying to escape, they're trying to be quiet, and his invention fucks it up. And then I think later on, if they'll escape the giant mouse monster, and they'll be, huffing and panting, and like this girl or whatever will push him down and be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? How useless can you fucking be? You are nothing but a burden to us. Why are you even here? You should have been eaten by dogs fucking weeks ago. How have you survived this long being as stupid as you fucking are?" And he'll like cry, and it'll be a whole thing. But then maybe towards the end he'll have some kind of redemption arc where either he means to or he doesn't mean to. He saves the day. He saves one of their lives or something, where just having him be around becomes very valuable, at least for that one instance where he saves somebody's life, where if he wasn't there, if they had left him behind, if he had been eaten by dogs weeks ago, this other person could be dead because he wasn't there at that right time to save the day. And that's the sort of stuff I want to put in that Survivors comic. I might not call it Survivors. Every aspect of it is subject to change. But it's just, a small post-apocalyptic story set in, a broken down England. And it'll be fun to draw, fun to read, hopefully. Just a fun little... And, I've been playing Fallout. I replayed Fallout 3. I replayed Fallout 4. I've been still playing Fallout 76. Which I'm getting a little bit tired of, but it's sort of, it's got just about enough to keep me going for now. And I'm just obsessed with collecting every Nuka-Cola and every Nuka-Cola Quantum I can find in every single Fallout game. That's all I want to do. Is just collect every Nuka-Cola I can possibly get my hands on. Especially because you can turn them into grenades, but really fucking good grenades. Like Nuka grenades and Quantum grenades or whatever are just really fucking good. But it's also... I explained this to Sam, because Sam was a little bit like, why are you obsessed with fucking Nuka-Cola? Because he showed me Fallout 4. I first played it at his, and then when he bought me my Xbox One when I was staying at his over New Year's, he bought me the Xbox One with Fallout 4 to go with it. So I played it a bunch there. And straight away, I was like running around collecting every Quantum. Every time I saw a Nuka-Cola Quantum, I was like, yes, fucking get it, collect it, put it in your stash, keep it. And he was like, why are you, you can't even really do anything with them in this game. But I was like, because they're fucking... I explained it, though, because if you recall Final Fantasy VII, the original, whenever you'd find materia in the landscape, there'd be, these, really wonderfully rendered, painted backgrounds. Some of it post-apocalyptic, really cool, broken down trains and shanty towns built around craters and stuff. And then the little funny pixel people running around these areas. And then you'd see materia, which is literally like a ball of pixels, all one colour. And it seemed to glow, and you'd run over to it and pick it up, and it would go ba-ding or something, because you found a new materia with a new power that you could use. And I'd have a distinct memory of these little glowing orbs and running to collect them, and it makes the sound which makes your brain go happy, because I found the thing and it made the happy sound in my brain. And for me, Nuka-Cola Quantums especially, but Nuka-Colas in general, are that. They have that same sort of vibe to me as materia, of just these little glowing things in a broken down apocalyptic world. You run over, you grab it, and you don't hear the sound, in the Fallout games, but it's just the thing, the glowy thing. Just find all the glowy things, and especially again the Quantums, because they're a rare item. There's a limited number of them, so I like to have them. And then when you're able to, through finding schematics or whatever, turn them into incredibly powerful, useful grenades, then that's just really fucking cool. So that's my little obsession. I did once. I had a screenshot where I played Fallout 3, and I spent the entire game, like, not even doing the missions and stuff. Just, I was leveling up by going around finding all the Nuka-Cola Quantums. You know, I know where most of them are, and then you go online and find the official lists of where they all are. And that's all I was doing. And then I went into, you know, my megaton home, and then just dropped all of them on the floor. So there was just fucking like 80 or 100 Nuka-Cola Quantums everywhere. These glowing blue bottles of soda. And that was perfect. That was exactly like what I want from Fallout games is, you know, the basic, you know, post-apocalyptic survival, looting, scavenging, collecting tin cans, because those are often, especially in Fallout 3, those are an ingredient of Nuka grenades. Yeah, I love all of that aspect of it, but getting the Nuka-Colas is that's what I want in a Fallout game. And you're able to do that in Fallout 4 and Fallout 76, so I'm happy with that. That's what I like. Because I'm a turd. Speaking of sodas, what's the beverage of the week? Oh my god! It's nothing. I'm sorry, I'm dying. It's nothing extravagant. I apologise. Today it's just a sugar-free Red Bull. Just some energy. Sugar-free because, you know, I'm trying to cut out the amount of sugar I indulge in. It really is bad. And someone mentioned when I was talking about sodas before, they mentioned, you know, you can get sugar-free Dr. Pepper, for instance. And frankly, sugar-free Dr. Pepper is one of the worst sugar-free drinks I've ever tasted, especially because I love Dr. Pepper in general. Sugar-free Dr. Pepper does not taste like... They try to be, same great taste, none of the calories, which is a lovely idea, but it's not fucking true. Like, not even close to true. It's ridiculous how untrue that fucking is. Like, Pepsi, I prefer Pepsi to Coke. Pepsi tastes good. Pepsi Max, sugar-free, is good. It's not the best drink in the world, but it's pretty good. I drink too much, but I drink quite a bit of Pepsi Max because it's readily available, sugar-free, and it's whatever. Coke is whatever. It's Coke. Sugar-free Coke is wank. It doesn't taste like Coke. It just tastes like generic sugar-free soda. Whatever. Tango is the same. They have this like berry flavoured Tango in the store near me, but it's sugar-free, and it has that sugar-free taste with whatever aspartame or whatever it is they put in to like give it some kind of flavour. It tastes like that, and it's a pile of wank, and I hate it. And then Dr. Pepper, brilliant, fucking love it. Give me all that shit. Sugar-free Dr. Pepper, not it. Sugar-free Dr. Pepper is not where it's at. Sorry to say. I've tried it, and it fucking sucks. I will take all the sugar of a regular Dr. Pepper over a sugar-free Dr. Pepper. Any and every day. Because it's fucking garbage. Oh, excuse the me. This is pretty good for a sketch. Unsure about his mouth. I want to make his mask look a little bit more like angular and villainous. I'm a bit unsure how to do that. I might need to do some concept sketching for that. It's an interesting challenge. Maybe move the spotlight back a bit. I don't know. And then put some effort into the writing. Victor. I won't do anything too great or grand with the graffiti. I don't want to detract from the image. You know, it's not going to be a Jeff Darrow picture full of fucking detail and graffiti and all this shit. Maybe for the actual image I can make the drawing of Victor quite bold and then use thinner lines to do a load of graffiti and like wall cracks and texture and stuff. Little Ned's, my old tag, Ewan signature, I don't know, whatever. Tusk, that was one from back in the day. The cake and carry on. Yeah, man. Villain. Do some villain drawings. That'll be good. And everyone loves MF Doom. You do an MF Doom drawing on Instagram and all the likes come in for that. Especially now since he's fucking dead.